Hey YouTube, Twig here, bringing you all an update to my Gouki Yugioh deck profile for post Dawn of Majesty. We were given one new card as an OCG exclusive in the Dawn of Majesty booster set, and it's been a while since I've updated the Gouki deck. For those of you who don't know, this was a pretty powerful deck at one point, being very strong during Link format. I'm still a big fan of the Gouki deck. For those of you who don't know, it's a warrior deck that can summon out a bunch of different Gouki Link monsters onto the field, because most of the Goukis in the deck benefit from, when they're sent to the graveyard, being able to search out a different Gouki card than the card sent from your deck to your hand, just giving you a constant supply of resources to use with all the different Gouki monsters. I tried going for as pure of a Gouki build as I could do, but the more and more I was messing with it, the more and more I found needing just numbers of other warrior support. So with the main focus still being, to summon out a bunch of different Gouki monsters from the extra deck, we're going to be going with the Gouki warrior mix that has definitely been quite famous with the deck altogether. So let's go ahead and get started with the deck profile. So for the Gouki monsters, I find it funny that the original Gouki released monsters are still some of the best in the deck. We're running 3 Gouki Suprex. When this card's normal summon, you can special summon 1 Gouki monster from your hand. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Gouki Suprex. You can only use this effect of Gouki Suprex once per turn. So the Link 2 setup, going into a Link 2 Gouki monster, is one of your best plays to do with this card, being able to get the Link 2 monster out, and then depending on which Gouki monsters you sent to the graveyard, Suprex being one of them, you get the search for one of your cards from your deck to your hand. You can add Gouki Rematch, or even the new Gouki finishing move that we're running in the deck that can power up a bunch of different Link monsters you run in the deck for some pretty powerful hits against your opponent. But 3 Suprex is definitely staple, just being able to summon any Gouki monster in your hand. There's no level restriction or anything like that with this card. I also run 3 Gouki Twist Cobra. It's a quick effect where you contribute 1 Gouki monster, then target 1 Gouki monster you control. It gains attack equal to the original attack of the tributed monster until the end of this turn. And if this card's sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Twist Cobra. So a good amount of the different Gouki monsters in the main deck share this search effect. Not all of them, but the ones that do are some of the best ones to run in the deck, so you always have this search option available to you. And Twist Cobra, giving you that power boost, can hit for some pretty big numbers, along with the new Gouki finishing move spell being able to just raise those numbers even more. I also run 3 Gouki Headbat. With this one being, I like how we're also going down in levels with all the different Gouki monsters. With Headbat, if this card's in your hand, you can send 1 other Gouki monster from your hand to the graveyard to target 1 Gouki monster you control, and special summon this card in defense position. And if you do, the targeted monster gains 800 attack until the end of this turn, and then having the same scent effect like the other Gouki monsters. It's a special summon from the hand if you don't want to summon it out. With Suprex, you just have this additional option to then have 3 different Gouki monsters on the field, so you go into some of the variety Link 3 Gouki monsters, like Gouki the Great Ogre, one of our original main ones, that much more easily. And having 3 different, if you have Twist Cobra, Suprex, and Headbat, 3 different searches from the deck to your hand also. And for the last of the 3 ofs in the deck, I also run 3 Gouki Octo Stretch. If your opponent monster attacks during damage calculation quick effect, you can discard this card, and then you take half the battle damage from that battle. When your opponent activates an effect that inflicts damage to you during the damage step, you can discard this card, and you take the damage in being halved once again. And if it's sent from the field to the graveyard, having the search effect like all the other Gouki monsters. What's great about this card is it can protect you from some pretty big damage, but also being a level 1, if you were to summon out warrior monsters like Isolde, just having to send 1 equip spell with Isolde to special summon out Octo Stretch onto the graveyard is, I said from the graveyard, from the deck, is just 1 additional easy step to use, since we have a good number of different lower level Gouki monsters to summon out with that same combo play. But just needing the 1 equip spell means late game equip spell sending and easy monster special summoning. For some of the lower numbers for the Gouki monsters, I also run 2 Gouki Guts. The defense position card cannot be destroyed by battle, and you can only use each of the following effects of Gouki Guts once per turn. During your main phase, you can make all Gouki monsters you control gain 200 attack. Into this card sent from the field to the graveyard, you can add 1 Gouki card from your deck to your hand, except for Gouki Guts. Now, the only reason I'm running 2 of this card is you have more of a defensive playstyle card when you summon down to the field in defense position, but more or less, you rely on this card for the attack boost, which is very little, but you can can still have level 1 options with other cards like Octo Stretch with this card in the deck. I won't run the 2 Guts though. It has the same scent for a Gouki card from your deck to your hand, but more or less just going off of the different plays and maxing out some of the numbers we can have. Relying on Octo Stretch, I would say, comes up more often than Guts, and that's why I'm only running 2 of it in the deck. For some of the one-ofs for the Gouki monsters, I run 1 Gouki Bear Hug and 1 Gouki Rescorpio. So with this option, you have the final cards to search out Gouki searches, but with the normal summon option for Rescorpio, making it that much more easily to get this level 5 monster on the field. And with Bear Hug, if it's special summoned by the effect of a Gouki card or normal summon, you can target one face-up monster your opponent controls and its attack becomes half its original attack, meaning your Gouki Link monsters can hit over some of the monsters quite more easily when you set this card up on the field. And also for that play, having just no monsters or all of them being Gouki monsters for this normal summon makes it easier to get Rescorpio out. But they're one-of plays, they're searchable, and I feel that's really all you need when you have these search options available. Since it's that easy to search them out, you don't want to see them too often in your hand because then it just makes it that much more difficult to summon out onto the field. For additional warrior setup, I am still running the Neospace Connector and the Neospatian Aqua Dolphin setup. For those of you that don't know, Neospace Connector can just summon a Neospatian out into the field. So this is just your answer for going into your Isolde, being 2 warrior monsters. And then having the Noble Knight out on the field just gives you access to more and more warriors by sending the equip spells, and also just being able to send out a warrior when you link summon it. So it's good for that option to have this card available. Just the 1 Aqua Dolphin's all you need, because then this card just plays for that search. And then otherwise, if you draw into any of the Neospace connectors, they can be used for discard costs for some of your extra deck monsters, or even just as an additional warrior monster on the field for some of the other extra deck plays. And then for the last of the main deck monsters, just the 3 Ash Blossom and Joyous Spring. It's the hand trap of choice in the deck, just with this one being able to stop your opponent's graveyard setup or searching out any cards from their deck to their hand. But if you have other cards you wanted to try out, you can always try adding additional numbers of some of the other Goukis into the deck, including increasing your number of Gouki Guts and Rescorpio and Bear Hug if you wanted to go for more of a pure Gouki route in the deck altogether. And that is it for the monsters. We'll now move on to the spells. I run 3 Gouki Rematch. You target 2 Gouki monsters in your graveyard with different levels. Special summon them in defense. You can only activate 1 Gouki Rematch per turn. So this card just gives you 2 monsters from the graveyard, and with it being searchable with your Gouki card, since it has Gouki in its name, you can use this card to go into a Link 4, which I'll show the play at the end of the video, that much easy. And having the Link 4 be the powerhouse of the deck, it can really go great with our next Gouki spell, which is Gouki Finishing Move, being the newest card in the deck. I don't know if I'll keep this card at 3, but with the main focus of the latest Gouki deck profile update to be summoning out a Gouki Link monster that hits pretty hard against your opponent. That's why I'm running 3 of this card. Not only is it searchable, so that's another reason why I might justify lowering down this number later in the future, but you target 1 Gouki Link monster you control. It gains attack equal to its Link ratings times 1,000 until the end of this turn. Also, if it attacks a defense monster, you inflict piercing battle damage to your opponent. And for the rest of this turn, after this card resolves, you cannot declare an attack except with a Gouki monster. And you can only activate 1 Gouki Finishing Move per turn. So it doesn't restrict you too much, just like I said, with the Gouki monster for the attack, but with your Link for being able to hit some pretty big numbers alone and being able to inflict piercing battle damage, this card could be the one card needed just to have enough damage to all but finish off your opponent with one of your Gouki extra deck monsters. It's that much more scary of a play once you set it up, and I'll show the big play to use with this card at the end of the video also. For some of the lower numbers, I run 1 Gouki Cage Match. This is just another Gouki searchable card. When it's activated, you place 3 counters on this card, and your Gouki monster destroys an opponent's monster by battle. You remove 1 counter from this card, and once per turn at the end of the battle phase, the last of the counters has been removed, you can special summon as many Gouki monsters as possible with different names from your hand and or deck, then place 3 counters on this card. So 1 of this is all you need. If your opponent wants to take the time to destroy this card, I would say let them, but you really don't need more than multiples, because this card doesn't really give you options for more Gouki monsters on the field unless you go for that play style. So if I open up 2 Cage Match in my hand, then it just takes away from the potential other Gouki cards I could have used, like powering up my Link monster or even just going for more special summons from the graveyard. For some of the other spells, I run 2 of the Divine Sword Phoenix Blade and the 1 Different Dimension Reincarnation and the 1 Living Fossil. Now, these are options. You can always take out the 1 Phoenix Blade for a Mere Moon Shield. Having different equip spells for that in the deck makes it so that you can have the level 4 option, but having the one additional spot in here for it just means that if you just want to send the one card, you can then use this card to special summon out the Octo Stretch, since we have plenty of level 1 monsters in the deck for summoning those cards out. And also Super X has to be normal summon, so using the equip spells to summon this out doesn't really give you much in use of when you summon it. The best you would want to do is level 3, 2, or 1, so that's why I'm running this current ratio of different cards in the deck. For some of the other one-ofs in the deck, I run 1 Scapegoat. Once again, just special summoning options for some of our Link monsters. If we can use this to summon out Mrs. Radiant, then we can use this card for powering up all of our different Earth Attribute Gouki monsters in the deck, along with 1 for 1, just searching out Gouki Guts or Octo Stretch. Putting Guts in defense mode with 1 for 1 is why I like running this card in the deck. Also, 1 Reinforcements of the Army searches out the majority of the monsters in the main deck. 1 Monster Reborn, special summoning resources back from the graveyard. Upstart Goblin, you can thin the deck out pretty quickly with all your Gouki searches, so being able to draw into some more important cards with this is why I like running it. And lastly, for the main deck and these spells, just 1 Call by the Grave. It's just, self-explanatory. It shuts down your opponent's graveyard plays or any of their hand traps they might try and use against your own Gouki searches. And that is it for the main deck. We'll now move on to the extra deck. For the Gouki Link monsters, we'll start off with the Link 3s. I would say Gouki Great Ogre is one of our most fun boss monsters to go into. All monsters on the field lose attack equal to their original defense, and if this card would be destroyed by battle or card effect, you can destroy one of the monsters this card points to instead. So this card doesn't even have to point to Gouki monsters. You can have any of the other cards in your deck, including the Neospace Connector, as an option, or any of the other Link monsters. It's best, I would say, to set this card up in the Link monster or extra monster zone, and then have all the other monsters you summon out point to this card. But being 2600 attack and being able to gain all the way up to 5600 with Gouki finishing move, once again, just a powerhouse to go up against your opponent, whether the monster's in defense or you're just swinging into it attack position to attack position. I also run the 1 Gouki Blade Ogre, the 1 Gouki Thunder Ogre, and the 1 Gouki Solid Ogre for the additional Link 3 monsters. You have plenty of variety for what Gouki monster you may want to go to, and that's what I find most fun about this deck, is just all the different Gouki Link monsters we've gotten. I would say it definitely surpasses the number of main deck monsters we've gotten compared. It might even be equal compared to the numbers we have for both, but having other Link 3 options just makes it that much more of a combo to go up against your opponent, depending on what Link monster you want to summon out. For the Link 2 monsters, I run 2 Gouki Jet Ogre. With this card, once per turn, you can target 1 Gouki card you control, destroy it, and if you do, change all monsters on the field to face-up attack position. And if this card is sent from the field to the graveyard, you can make all Gouki monsters you control gain 500 attack until the end of this turn. You go and use this effect of Jet Ogre once per turn. So the boost in 500 might be the final play against your opponent for the boost when you use Gouki finishing move with one of your Link 4 Goukis, having enough power with that card being raised with this one and some of your other cards in the deck to have the 8,000 needed. And also if you use cards like Gouki Guts to lower your opponent's monsters that much more easily. I also run the 1 Heal Ogre, being an additional Link 2 monster, and Link 2s giving you 2 Gouki monsters with cards like Super X on the field make the most beneficial play to then use against your opponent for all of the searches you'll get. It gets much easier just to have 2 monsters on the field and go for a Gouki play than if you were to try for 3 or 4. But once you get the search for rematch and any other spells, it's that much more of an option. And then also the 1 Giant Ogre, the 1 Destroy Ogre, and the 1 Master Ogre for the Link 4 boss monsters. I would say Giant Ogre is the one I go into the most, having the most protection option since it cannot be destroyed by battle and unaffected by the activated effects of your opponent's monsters, and also having 3,000 attack, so one of the better options to use with finishing move for that play. For some of the more generic Link monsters in the deck, I also run 1 Isolde, 2 Tails of the Noble Knights, 1 Mrs. Radiant, 1 Nightmare Cerberus, and the 1 Link Karibo. The Link Karibo, especially with Octo Stretch and Gouki Guts, just being a 1-card search and getting a Link monster on the field. We've already gone over some of the Assault plays with the Neospace Connector, but the Mrs. Radiant with the Scapegoat, along with being able to go into the 2 Scapegoats to Mrs. Radiant, the 1 into Link Karibo, and then using that token, and Link Karibo into Nightmare Cerberus, just sets up more Link monsters on the field for you as well. As for the go-to plays with the new spell card, your best bet option is just a 2-card combo. If your opponent goes first and they set up a monster, if you only open up Super X and 1 other additional Gouki monster, monster. It doesn't really matter which one, as long as it's Suprex. You can summon out Suprex for the normal summon, special summon the Gouki monster on the field, go for a Link 2, which then it can be any of the Link 2 Gouki monsters. Summoning out Jet Ogre onto the field, you can then use the search for both of the Gouki monsters you have on the field to search out your 2 needed cards, which would be Gouki Finishing Move and Gouki Rematch. You will then activate your Gouki Rematch, special summoning the 2 Gouki monsters from the graveyard in defense position. With that, you have the 3 monsters on the field needed to then go into your Gouki Link 4, which is Gouki the Giant Ogre, and then activating your Gouki Finishing Move to make this card gain 4,000 attack, and going up against your opponent can then swing for 7,000 attack against your opponent itself with just this one combo play that relied on 2 Gouki monsters only in your hand, and having the additional 3 cards in your hand just be additional bonus cards you can use. If you have these cards already set up in your hand, it means more monsters for you to search out. But that is it for the deck profile. I hope you all enjoyed the video. Like I said, I was definitely happy that we get new support every now and again. I know there's other decks in the set, including Dino Wrestlers, Trickstars, Tindangles, you name it. All these decks will definitely be updated with the new one-of-card support, because it's always worth updating when even we get 1 card. And until next time, please don't forget to leave a like and subscribe, and Kira Twig out.